So I realized like it was mostly a Latino crowd, and I am not. And what was funny is when I looked at the lineup, I was like, oh, I'm like the only white person on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny because Esther is the producer and a comic, Esther Acosta, and she was hosting, and she was this, very sweet, this next comic, Teresa de Gatano, like,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Two Stand-Up Gals. I'm your co-host, Erica Spira.
and I'm Teresa de Gatano. Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. So a few things up top real quick. If you are listening and you'd prefer to watch the episode, we also have them on YouTube. So feel free to check out our YouTube page. It's under Two Stand-Up Gals podcast. And I have the links in the description, as well as the Patreon. If you'd like to join for getting extra episodes or ad-free episodes, you could join that. Patreon.com/Two Stand-Up Gals. And we always have a little preview at the end of the episode if you want a little taste what's going on over there. But all right. What do we got this week, T? What do you want to start with?
Woo! Well, it is Saturday. Saturday. I
These
just
come out on
came.
Tuesdays, but yes.
Okay, sorry. I know. I was like,
It's
just
all
tell them
right.
the day. I know they come out on Tuesday. Okay, we'll edit that out. Okay, wrong
We
day.
don't have to edit it out.
I did. It's just it's interesting. Like Saturday. Okay, because I was going to talk about my Friday night. I just came from
Well,
a
yeah.
workout class. I got my butt kicked. It was hard, but I feel good about it. Feel good about what performance I did in the class, because I believe I may have mentioned this on the Patreon, is that I sweat a lot in my hot yoga HIIT vinyasa classes because it's very hot in there. That the girl beside me this past week was like, "You're really sweaty." And
Wow,
I
okay.
was like, "Yeah, I sweat. I do sweat a lot." And she was like, "How old are you?" And I was like,
What?
42. And I guess I didn't tell you this. And then I was like, "Well, how old are you?" And she's like, 33. And then I was like, "All right." Like, I didn't really know where to go from there. I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
well."
Does she think sweating is an age thing?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's what she was getting at, but I was like, she was doing a good job. It was her first class. And I was like, "Oh, you did great." Like, I mean, she clearly was not sweating as much as I was. But I was like, I don't know why we're throwing shade at the age right now, because also
Yeah.
she looked older than 33. So I was like, okay, there you go, girl.
Well, also,
Okay.
I'm like, I'm a big sweater. And yeah, some people just aren't the luckiest people in the world. I'll get a pit stain easy doing nothing.
I can't wear gray. This is a whole
Yeah.
thing. I've made a post about this when like the girls, the young ladies are wearing the Lululemons and the Athleticas. Is that what it's called? Athleticas? Or am I getting that confused with the
Athleta?
non-alcoholic beer?
Athleta? Athleta,
Athleta.
yeah.
That's it. And because it's athletic, it's the non-alcoholic beer. And when I see them in a gray pair of pants, I'm like,
Mm.
how are you not sweating through those? Like,
Any
how
color.
lined are these pants? Like,
Any color. I've seen a sweat line on my black leggings that are nice Athleta leggings that I don't know how someone's walking around in like the bright blue, not one wick of sweat anywhere. Even just walking around New York City, walking around anywhere.
I had to get my phone fixed. Okay, I may have dropped it in some water. Okay, I've talked
Mm-hmm.
about this. I dropped it maybe in the toilet. Okay, I may have dropped it. It was a situation. It's fine. All right, I got a new phone. Okay, and I had to pay the $99 for the water damage because I have the Apple Care, but they actually upgraded me to a 13. So this was great because now the phone
Okay.
works. Like I could talk on the phone with someone yesterday without needing my earpieces, like because that's how bad the quality of sound was getting.
Oh
And I
man,
was talking
you
to my
were due
buddy
for an upgrade.
Colby. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, I can hear you, Colby. This is great. But I like power walked to the Apple store on Wednesday morning. I was like jamming out to my music. I had my coffee. So when I sat down, I was like, oh, I'm sweating under my
Mm-hmm.
clothes. Like I just sat, you have to sit there for almost like an hour and a half, 2 hours while they like
Jeez.
update your phone. Like because they have to transfer
Oh.
the files. So I was like, I mean, I feel like I just stink as I'm sitting here. Like I was like, this is not good for, I hope he doesn't get too close to me. Like, So yeah,
That's
I
the
can
worst
figure
is
that
the
out too.
break after the hustle and the sweat
Mm.
just starts pouring in and you
Mhm.
can't stop it. That is the worst is when you're hustling to a show and you're like, I have to go on stage in 10 minutes and this is out of control.
It was did I tell you this story? It was this was a few years back, before the pandemic, and I was doing I think it was Karen Fian's show, and it was downstairs on, like, Avenue A and 3rd, what Karma, that lounge, Karma Lounge
Oh,
in
Karma
New York, it's like a
Lounge.
hookah lounge,
Wow. Yeah,
and
that place. Oof.
I went up first, and it was summer, and I was just sweating through this turquoise blouse that I wore, and I was like, "Bad color. This is" and it had, like, capped sleeves, and I was like, "Oh, no." And I just felt gross, and then at the end of the show, Kareem Green is an attractive, very funny man who is a
Oh,
comic,
hilarious.
and he got up, and he was sweating through his plaid, but it looked very different than when I was sweating through my stuff. Like,
Mhm.
his was like a sexy sweat. It was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh." Me, it was like, "Girl, you need a Botox shot for those armpits." Like, it
Truly
was
though, that's how I feel most days. Oh my god.
I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
like people are like you
sweating."
wear black a lot. Is it because you think it's slimming? I'm like, it's because I sweat. Actually,
Yeah, it's
that
'cause
is
I
I can
that's why
sweat.
we're black on stage. Yeah.
Yeah, or that's why the jacket move is great
Oh,
because
the
like
jacket.
it's not attached to your pits. You got enough room. I can be sweaty under the jacket. And you don't know. That's the real secret of the comedy jackets you keep seeing everyone wearing.
Well, then the other thing is, it's like, well, wear a shirt that like a sleeveless blouse that doesn't have sleeves. Well, then the issue is your triceps because you don't want to go on stage. Maybe I'm a little vain, but and like the bingo wings, the 064s be jiggling. Like I am trying, like today after class, I sat there and I was doing the tries. I was doing a lot of the tries, like so because I don't want that either. Then you watch it, you're like, oh, that
Yeah,
doesn't look good. Like, so
I
not
mean
only do you have to be funny, but there's a whole nother vanity level of getting on stage that dudes don't have. I don't think dudes deal with what we do deal with.
they don't have as much, but in general, all of us are now watching ourselves on camera so much,
Mhm.
and it's tough. It's
It
tough. Even
is.
people that work from home now, it's like that's why plastic surgery skyrocketed after the pandemic. Part of it is like we now see ourselves on camera, even like at your day jobs on Zoom all the time, and so it's like it's hard to look at yourself that much in any
Mhm.
capacity, social media, whatever, and then not feel critical of your appearance. It's so hard.
It's true. I love the Paris filter. That's my favorite. Like I posted a Tales from the Tables today about March Madness and giving myself a pep talk before
Mhm.
my shift, like the coaches do, like, get out there. And I have to do the same thing before work. I was like, you got this day, Catano, get out there. The Paris filter does wonders for me. Which one do you use?
If I put one on, it's usually the Paris one. Yeah,
It is
because
the
it's
Paris.
very simple, just a little bit. Helps if if I'm doing something no makeup posting, I'm like, let me just Paris that. Paris that no
Paris
makeup
that. You have
face a little
beautiful
bit.
skin though. Beautiful skin,
Oh, thank you.
Erica.
So do you.
Very nice
Um
skin. Thank you.
I was gonna say what else with comedy things. The
Mhm.
the roommate came to my show. I talked about that last week.
Mhm.
First time. The show overall, fun time, by the way. It's called Comedy Confessional. It's in LA. It's monthly at the Crow. If you're interested in this type of show, it's really crowd interactive, very fun. And it's an intimate setting. Like maximum people in this room, I think, could be 30 people.
Oh,
Like it's a small
nice.
room, but fun. So it's a perfect environment for this sort of thing. Uh, so when we get there, my friend who runs the show is like explaining everything. Comedians also put in confessions. They give you like 4 pieces of paper in the audience to make sure the bucket is nice and full so you don't run out. But then my friend is like, hey, the thing is though, you can't whip through these like too quickly because, there's however many comics after you.
Mhm.
Like, so whatever one you get, you got to try to riff on it as much as you can, like get as much use out of it as you can until you go to the next one. So I'm like, I think third, second to last. I'm later in the lineup. It's like the host, my friend Avery hosts, one comic, then this person. This girl was ripping through these confessions. Like I think she went through like over 15 of them, and all of us are in the back like, yo, because she'd get ones that you're like, that's a really good one. There's more you could say, and she'd say like one funny thing and just be like, all right, on to the next, and then she reveals she's like, oh, all the comics in the back, I bet you guys also put in like confessions in here that really are just prompts for you to do your material, right? She's like, because that's what I did, and I'm trying to get one of mine, and I can't get one of mine, and we're all in the back like, no, none
No.
of us did that. We're like, no, it's you gotta like that's the challenge of the show. You gotta riff off the thing, and she was getting ones that I was like, this is interesting. There's a lot you can say, and like whatever, but just rips through so many. At one point, she shakes the bucket, confessions fall out of the bucket, and my friend Avery just turns and looks at me, and I go, did you tell her about the slow pace thing? He goes, I tell everybody. I'm like, all right, well, there might not be any left by the time I get up there
Oh
to
my
go.
gosh.
I know. And the thing
She's
is, though, I get it when it's like you're fully off the cuff. It's nerve wracking. You're a little bit more nervous maybe than, just going up and doing your material. So she tried to put in prompts. Because I picked up a prompt that just was a card that was 2 words. It said racist baby. And I'm like, that's not a confession. And I was sitting there being like, this must be one of hers. That it's just was to prompt her to do some joke she has about a racist
She's
baby.
like, I got a racist baby bit, so I'm just gonna. Did
it's
she say
frustrating.
anything when she got off stage? Was she like, sorry guys, didn't really follow the show format or anything? No.
No. And left. That's the other thing. You're like, and leave.
Yeah.
So it's like you went up early because you had something else to go to. Fine. It's hard in that moment to like not, first of all, dislike that person. That I'm a little like, what are you doing, dude? This is the format of the show. Because you know what else has happened to me? Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever done a quote new material show where it's like comedians all working on their new material?
Yep. I just did one 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, which is great for us because it's like it's giving you permission to fail. And the audience knows like some of these are gonna be hits, some of these are not. But it's see the process. Dude, I remember doing one. Someone went up. No, it was Nori Davis, who's a fantastic comedian, goes up and just murders, and it's all material I've heard before that I'm like, but did you not? And I'm only like maybe 3 years into comedy, and he's way ahead of me, already much funnier than me. Even if he went up and did new stuff, I was nervous to follow him, and I'm in the back like, what the fuck is it? What? So do I go up and stick to the new material idea, or do I have to just go kill now? And turns out he was running a Conan set to film on Conan.
Oh, that's funny.
So there was like, I'm like, yeah, man, I get it. You want to run that set as much as you can, but don't hit up the new material show. Don't come in here.
Or tell everybody, hey, listen, this material has been done before, but I need to run this set. Like, yeah. That's really funny.
Yeah, I just remember being in the back, like, and I had to follow him, and I did not do well whatsoever. I was so in my head. I was like, ah. And then also you go, do I call out? Because he left, did his set, left. And I almost wanted to be like, I hope you guys know those jokes have been said before many times. I could do those jokes right now. They are not new. If you want
to hear them again, he'll be on Conan with the new jokes.
Turns out he'll be on Conan next week.
Just turning these jokes, 1 week old jokes, just TV ready, just out there. Oh, that's funny. I did do a new joke night a couple weeks ago at West Side. It was really fun, and the audience was fun. And I did get to try out new stuff, and I think I came up with a punchline on stage, which I was like, I think this might work. Okay. Like,
oh, that's the best.
It was, but I don't bring notes up. I just don't like, I honestly don't like when people bring notes on stage.
This is interesting because I feel like since the pandemic, it's very normalized for comedians to have a set list out, a little piece of paper out. Or it's also like a lot of times like we forgive it if a comedian has a high status, a high following, where it's almost like, oh yeah, because they're going and selling out a club on the weekend. So it's now allowed when they do their little short sets here, when they're not headlining, that we give them permission to have the notes, try things out, da-da-da-da. It's very interesting because I was very in my head about that too, of like, there's a trick on my phone where like it doesn't lock, like it doesn't shut off. And so I have written like a set list out before, and I'll have it on the stool as like a, hey, just in case when I do longer sets to go take a peek. But I'm still being sly with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got a drink there. I'll go have a sip of my drink. I glance down. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'll write a few things that I'm like, these are the jokes maybe I won't remember, or chunks to kind of be like, oh, jog the memory. All right, let's make a pivot. Let's do like this chunk about whatever. But it's interesting. I find it shocking when people will go on with notes like at the cellar. I'm like, ooh, this is the cellar. I thought you can't do that unless you're like Amy Schumer dropping in and Jerry Seinfeld. And it's like, yeah, this is an open mic to them, and they're famous, you know.
That's interesting that somebody would do that there. That's not, because we do accept it from a famous person.
Yeah,
we do accept that. I'm working on stuff. So here, what else do I have to, work on and follow the format when they are famous and more established? But I like to sell it regardless if it's new. Let's sell it. Let's just get in, let's perform it. But
I think the big thing is, aren't you worried at all? Like you go up for the new material, and what if you forget like the prompt to whatever bit? Like, because the little writing usually just like 2-3 words that you're like, oh, okay. you know, I got an offender bender. Yes, okay, let's try the material I
Mhm.
had about that story. So like even a new material show, you won't go up there with like a little writing somewhere to glance at if you need it?
No, it throws me off to look.
Really? This is interesting.
But I do need to, but then I've gotten off stage and be like, "Oh, I forgot this part." Or like, "Oh, why did I forget?" Like I forgot I had a really good show on I've had some very good shows. I'm very pleased with this week in comedy. And that I was like, "I forgot this punchline." And the joke went fine,
Mhm.
but I was like, "This is a great punchline to this." And I don't know. I think that I just got thrown off by something and I was like, "Damn, why did I not say that part? That part's great." Like, but I got off stage. That's what we do. We get off stage and then we're like, "I forgot this." Like, yeah.
Yeah. The like especially the end of the joke.
Mhm.
And so sometimes I will have that written on like a set list or something is like the one line I always keep forgetting to make
Mhm.
sure I have in there. That happened to me a little bit. I had a show, different show, last night, and it was one of those shows. You ever have that show that you're just like, "Ooh, I am just sick of my material right now."
Oh, yes. A lot of
Ugh.
them.
And
Mhm.
I was struggling to sell it. I'm not gonna lie. At least I felt that way because I just felt like I wasn't. The jokes were not doing as well as they do. I was
Mhm.
not really connecting with the crowd, and I felt this like I don't even really want to be telling this joke. I usually just tell this up top because it gets them going. It's like, okay, boom, 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 boom. Then maybe go into newer stuff. And I just, ooh, I had one of those sets that I was like, in my head, I literally thought on stage, like, Erica, you're not in it. Like you're not here.
Aw.
You're not. You're focused. You're something. Something's off with you tonight. And it's, ooh, that's frustrating. Especially now that I got to drive in LA. It's like, man, I drove like an hour because of traffic to the show. And then you're like, man, I just went up there and like, what the fuck was that? You know,
Mhm.
like I came off stage and just felt like, what? Where were you? What happened to you?
Mhm.
What happened up
Mhm.
there? And then I tried it. I was like, let me do a pivot, different type of material. And then I did that thing where you forget a couple lines, and I was like, oh, I fucked that joke. I haven't told that joke in a long time. But I was like, let me tell a joke I haven't told in a while. It'll get me back. And it was like, no. I was like, oof,
Mhm.
just that killed me.
Was that the last time you were on stage? Or have you been on
Yeah,
stage
it was last
since then?
night. Yeah.
Oh, it was last night? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I have another show tonight, so I'm like, I can redeem myself a little bit, but
Yeah,
ugh,
you'll
I
be
think,
good. You'll
ugh.
redeem. Yeah. I did Funny Women of a Certain Age on Wednesday night. And so like a week ago. So it's over 40 comics, women, for the live shows in New York
Oh.
City, but on the road it's 50 and over, I think.
Oh,
No, I think the
really?
live shows are 40 plus. But the specials have been 50 or over because they have 2 specials on Showtime. Carol Montgomery started it. I love Carol. There's
Oh.
Funny Women of a Certain Age, even more Funny Women of a Certain Age. Like Fran Drescher was on the first one, Lunel, Carrie, Louise, and one other, Vanessa Hollingshead, and because I saw it live and it was amazing. Regina emceed it, and
Yeah.
or she warmed everybody up, or who did it, and it was great. And so we got a nice turnout. I thought it was at Comedy Village, and I had people there. My coworkers came, and some of the bar regulars, and now my friends. And so it was a really good show for them to come to. All ladies came from me, but like guys could have come. I was like, I just thought that was a good show, and I did a little more than 15 minutes and I wasn't
Oh,
hosting.
good.
So I was they really enjoyed themselves. We had fun. And then we went out afterwards. And then I stayed out too late. Like I didn't over drink, but it was like I got home and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, like,
Mhm.
wow. But we were out and we were talking, having a very in-depth conversation. And guys kept
Yeah.
coming up to the table. Like, I
Really?
mean, I couldn't believe how many like, my friend was a little upset, and I was like, "Nothing like a gal crying," and a guy like, "So, where you ladies from?" I was like,
What
"Read
do we got
the
going on
room."
over here?
I mean, her and I were laughing about that yesterday, where I was like, "We really got approached, like, 5 times." Like, I was like, I just and it was dark in there, so I kept, like, looking up, and my eyes were focusing funny, and, like, one guy, I went up to get around because the bar was super cheap. It's like a New York institution. We were at Rudy's, which is catty corner from the club. And it's like liquor's cheap, everything's cheap. Then you can get free hot dogs with a drink. So I was like, "Oh," and they were good hot dogs too. But so I'm up at the bar and like this younger guy, and he's like, "So, where you from? East Coast, West Coast?" And I was like, "Well, I'm in New York. Like, where?" I was like, "Well, I'm from the East Coast. Like, I do live here." And he goes, "Oh." And I was like, "What about you?" He's like, "West Coast." I was like, "Oh, what area?" He's like, "Arizona." And I was like, that doesn't have a coast last time I checked. That doesn't
Uh, it
have
actually
a,
is
is it?
shockingly kind of close to LA, though. I didn't realize this. Like, you could drive to parts of Arizona in like 4 hours from here, 4.5 hours. Isn't that
But would
crazy?
you call that the West Coast? I would not. I'm just, this is,
I guess you're more West Coast than East Coast, but I see what you mean. Yeah.
it was just, but I was like, okay. Like, and I was like, I don't know. It was just funny. I was like, oh, I didn't realize you were on the Pacific Coast. Like, I don't, that's what, I don't know. I'm looking at being a
I
bitch
know what you
over
mean.
here.
Yeah. It's a
Like,
little, yeah, it's a
but
landlocked state. So you're like,
yeah,
what
I was like,
coast?
oh, I didn't, and so I just thought it was kind of funny. And then Thursday, I had taken off work and switched my shift to do the show on Long Island. And it was an awesome show. It was at this place called Mama Juana Cafe. The food was incredible.
Mm.
Um, so I realized like it was mostly a Latino crowd, and I am not. And what was funny is when I looked at the lineup, I was like, oh, I'm like the only white person on the show,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. I feel like my set went really well, but it was funny because Esther is the producer and a comic, Esther Acosta, and she was hosting, and she was this, very sweet, this next comic, Teresa de Gatano, like,
Yeah.
and I was like,
my, my announcer in college would do that to my name. I'd be like, Etika Spera. And I was like, and I just look over like, hey man, I think you think I'm something on this team because my team was pretty white. That I was like, I'll just let him do it. What am I going to do? Just trying to
and
give our team a little more flavor.
I was like, hey, everybody. And so even the guy, Gadiel, who I met like at the train station, like once we got to Long Island, because I wore my hair curly, it was raining. And he was like, oh, I thought you were Puerto Rican. I thought like, and I was like, no. And then they try to like, he's like, well, Italian though? Like, does that count as white? I was like, I mean, I'm white. Like, I mean, I know my
Yeah.
name's like De Catano, but I mean, I'm part Italian, but so it was very funny. So at the end of the show, we all went back up for the bow, and it was nice. It was sold out. They were amazing. We did like the Instagram exchange, and people wanted pictures and to talk. It was very, very nice. But everyone was giving their Instagram, and I was like, well, hi, I'm Teresa. That's Teresa. And everyone started. Because what if I went up there and I was like, I sound like I had an ex-boyfriend who was Italian, and Roberto, shout out Roberto, but he was like, I
Oh,
mean,
with
your
the
name is
chef? That guy?
Teresa. No, that was Giovanni. That was during my Italian
I was like, that
phase.
man was
It was
very Italian and would not stop
Giovanni.
making you food.
Oh God, I love, and he
Giovanni.
was such a good cook. I was honest. I've
Yeah.
dated a lot of men that cook for me. I've dated like 4
Mm-hmm.
guys that have cooked for me. Even the last guy cooked for me. Remember when he brought over like 2 pounds of bacon the one day and like his cornbread? Excellent. Like,
Yeah.
love
I
it.
just remember that Giovanni because he was tagging you in Facebook
Oh my
posts
God.
of the spread. The fucking spread, dude. And I just kept being like, what is this? Who is this guy popping up in my feed? But he loved to post the pictures of the food. He was making you and a picture of you at your plate. And I was like, well, Teresa's eating good. Giovanni's taking care of my girl.
He loves an Instagram post. So he was my old boss at the first job I had in New York. And nothing happened during that time. And then we actually went to Mexico together. He had like a what's that called? Like it's not an
Timeshare or
Airbnb,
something?
timeshare. And so I went down for 3 days, and I think I told my mom I was going with Julia or something. I mean, I was 26. I was like, okay. And
This is
then
when you started dating? Or this is
we
before you
just kind
dated?
of had a casual, like, but we were
Oh,
friends. And
okay.
he's like, come down, blah, blah, blah. And it was cool. It was in Cancun. And so but then it wasn't until a few years later that like we connected and dated for a couple months. But I remember he loved the pics. And then like there was like 10 pics of me. And a lot of my friends were like, so T. I remember my open mic, everyone was like, so who's this
Yeah.
Italian man just tagging you in posts left, right,
I think
center?
I
Yep.
said something to you. I was like,
Uh-huh.
you got a boyfriend? I said, see the pics.
And I was like, it is very nice when they post pics of you. Like it
Yeah,
is.
he was
It's
very
very,
proud to be dating you. It is very flattering when a guy's like
which
that.
I do love. I was like that
Mhm.
but he would cook. He was a fantastic cook. But Roberto was funny. He cooked too. And he was like, I mean, your name is like Teresa. Like that's really, like that's what he would call me. I was like, but if I get on stage and I'm like, hi, I'm Teresa, and then I start
Yeah.
talking like this, it just
And I'm like, I'm from
Just
Harrisburg,
really.
Pennsylvania.
Exactly. And when I go for a lot of like the one commercial class I took, they always tried to really Italian me up. They were like, okay, now let's be more
Mhm.
Italian. Let's Italian you up. And I was like, but I'm not that like,
Well, it doesn't matter. It's
I
it's
know.
it's acting. We
It's
gotta
like the
Italian it up.
prosciutto. Who's got the prosciutto? Yeah, or whatever. So that was funny. That was my comedy. And it was a cool, like I got a ride home with some of the comics and we were all talking comedy. And it was nice that because when you have a good show, everyone feels good about themselves.
Mhm.
Like everyone did well. And so everyone was like, the comics were on like a little high. And so
Well, you
it
just
was,
want it to be everybody either does well or everybody does terribly, and the
yeah.
show is terrible. Like, when you are the one that didn't do great and everybody else does great, man, is the hang hard after.
Mm,
You're like, "Shake it off, shake it off. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
mhm.
no, you belong here. You belong in this car with all these people. You didn't just eat shit in front of everybody. You're fine," you know?
When I
That's the
did the
worst.
headlining set, Oscar Collazo drove me home, and he was like, "Yeah, that was great, T." I thought for a second, like, "Oh, if this doesn't go well, that's gonna be a long ride home." And I was like I was like, "I appreciate your, honesty on that." I was like, "Thank you.
That's
No,
true, yeah.
that was good." So, yeah, so it
Mhm.
feels like it was a good week for a decent week for stand-up, and then, I've got, I'm hosting a comedy, class graduation show
Mm,
tomorrow. So that's just me rapid fire, bringing up name after name, getting my
yeah,
steps in to the stage, just
doing it.
like some of those comedy classes, because I took a class. That's how I started. Did you take any
Mhm.
classes with
Same.
anybody?
That's how I started.
Oh, where'd you go?
Mine was the Manhattan Comedy School one.
With Karen Bergreen?
Was she my first teacher? Yeah, she was. Because I ended up taking two. Because then I interned for the guy, so he let me do another class for free, like the advanced class or something. So it was her,
Oh.
and then it was Eric Carnfield, who was more so like a TV writer, but used to do stand up back in the day.
Mhm.
And then funny, this is bizarre. Then a few years later, all of a sudden, this girl Molly Cornfield is around open mics,
Mhm.
and like I didn't like put it together at first. And all of a sudden, I got to know her, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, is your dad Eric Cornfield? And she was like, yeah, my dad used to do stand up. He teaches classes. I was like, I took your dad's class. I was like, oh shit. Oh, you're the daughter I heard the jokes about. Hi. I was like, you're a lot older than the jokes. She's like, yeah, they're very old jokes. He has not up to date.
You know who her mom is, right?
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. What's her name?
I know, I'm
Patty?
forgetting her name. That's why I
Isn't it
pitched you. I was
Patty?
like, it's Patty Ross Burrow.
Rose
Patty
is something. I forget
Ross
the
Burrow,
last
I think.
name. I'm butchering
Patty's
it.
very funny.
But yeah,
And,
I've been on shows with her. She's still actively doing it. It's
and
crazy.
I like Molly a lot. Molly's really sweet.
Yeah. She's sweet.
So, and funny as well. But that is because that's how I started in the comedy class. And so you get so nervous at the beginning and then you get that laugh and you're like, okay, okay.
You're like, okay, I'll do this 10 years, 12 years. What is it? It doesn't take that long, right? Um, what else do we want to talk about today? Other than comedy things.
Well, let's see. Last night I took an edible and
Oh,
I
how's
don't
that?
take edibles. I don't,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, you're not a big
actually,
one.
what'd you say?
I said excuse me, you're not a big edible gal.
No, and I'd rather take a Xanax. That doesn't give me the
Mhm.
munchies as an edible does. And I found these, this is probably a year plus ago. There was 2 metal containers of, like, edibles that weren't open that someone had bought. They bought 4 of them. One was, like, relax,
Oh,
balance, like, little gummies in a hard case. Very nice.
wait
I
a
had
minute.
my
I think I have the type. Is it
let
Camino?
me see. It might yeah, I think so.
Are these tins? These are the best
Yes!
tins. This is a good kind. You had one of these?
Well,
Oh,
what
buddy, these are
happened
good.
okay, I have but it's like a point it's not a lot, but the problem is that the gummies all mesh together, so it's one big glob.
Oh,
Now, my gummy
that can happen. Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
just took a little bit, and I was feeling good because I just felt kinda, like, melancholy when I came home last night, like, I knew I
Mhm.
didn't wanna be out because I have a big weekend and stuff coming up, and I was like, "I already worked all day, like, I've been out," but I just had the wah-wahs, you know, the
Yeah.
and
I know
so
what you mean.
I was like, "Let me just take a little bit of this and I'll watch some TV." And then I took a little bit more, and then, like, I just got little pieces, and then I was like, "Oh, I think you're" I tried to do stuff on my phone, and then I couldn't remember what I was doing. And
It all of a sudden hits you. You're like, "Oh." You are high right now, yeah.
And then I fell asleep and woke back up, and I was like, "I think I'm still high right now." Like, and then I got the munchies, and I've got these Factor meals, so I was like, "Let's put one of these in the microwave," even though I wasn't hungry, and I was like, "Okay, like, I don't need something to give me more munchies." Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So that was my getting my edibles
Yeah.
started. People just do them all the time. Do they not get how do they
Well,
focus?
you have it's, I mean, it's like drinking where like you might get tolerance to it. Because the thing is, like, this is like the amount size of it is like a little square. Like this is,
Mhm,
and if it's a 5 milligram, that isn't like that much. That's not crazy strong. But since you like never really take edibles, and or for me, I don't take them often. So it's like if I haven't taken one in a long time and I do a whole 5, I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling it. I'm like, ooh,
mhm.
okay, homeboy's kicking in. But yeah, no, it's like drinking because I have some friends, man, their weed tolerance is insane. That they take that's a 5 milligram edible, and I will feel that for a long enough time, few hours, whatever. I have friends
Mhm.
taking 25 milligram edibles, and I'm like, I
Whoa.
would be unable to function if I was doing that.
Yeah. How do they function? Like, do they take them before they're going to do things? Like
I mean that high of an edible. No, that's like if they're going on a flight or something. I don't know. That's but
even
like they
then, I
need
would
it
be
that high to really feel the edible at all. But then I also have other friends that like edibles just never work for them. So I don't
mhm.
know. Maybe it's a person to person thing. But my friends who smoke a lot of weed, they're having a lot higher than the 5 milligram. Let me tell you. But she like wanted to give me one. She's like, "Do you want this for a flight?" I was like, I'd be way too fucked up. I'd be
Yeah.
losing my shit.
Then I would be getting up every few minutes and just I
Yeah,
don't
that
I
would make anyone paranoid, I think.
yeah, I would not like I think about that scene in Bridesmaids where she's like, "There was a woman churning butter on the wing."
Yeah. She's
There was a
that is
woman. She just, like, pops
that
behind the curtain.
yeah.
That scene is
Hi,
one of the fun
it's not me. That whole movie is such like every scene, but that scene is one of my favorites. Yeah. I'm ready to party.
Woo!
Yeah.
And then the 2 women, the one that's married, and then they're having, like, the heart to heart in the
Yeah.
seat, like, back, and everything about that movie is so funny. That is such a great movie, but when she's high, just, like, there is
I love it. That's one of my
that's why I
favorites.
can't really do it. I don't know how people do it and go to work. Like, I was like, I would be a mess if I was at work and all these people were staring at me, and I was like, "I'm sorry, what did you order again?" Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I forget what people order just in general, but and there's no shame in my game. I'll walk over and be like, "I'm so sorry, but what was
Yeah.
that again?" But I would be a mess. I would just
Well, it
not be
depends on the
able
type of job you have. Like if you know, if you work at like a doggy daycare, yeah, be high, hanging out with dogs. Who cares? Like, what difference does it really make? You know what I mean? Like that. I'm like, yeah, if you have
Mhm.
to interact with people all the time, I don't know how anybody's high on the job. I I don't know.
Well, when I dated
Each
the
their
high
own though.
school guidance counselor back in 2021, he was high all the time. He waked and baked and
Oh damn.
smoked yeah, and he was a big weed smoker. So, yeah.
I don't know. Some people it helps anxiety. I just do it if I'm like in a mood to veg out on my couch, like watch a movie or whatever. Basically, go to bed. I'm like, I'm not taking the edible and exploring. Typically, it's an
Yeah,
at home activity for me.
that's what it is for me too. I was like, I don't be out in public. Like this just sounds
Yeah,
like yeah, doesn't
like
sound good.
maybe I don't know at a concert it'd be fun. I've done that before. I think like yeah, I'm dancing some music, but I usually get tired on them. That it just makes me want to go home.
We're good. It's Erica, the concert started 20 minutes ago. Wrap it up. Let's
Yeah, I'm
go,
like
everybody.
I'm ready to
Let's go.
go. Ready
Um,
to go. Oh
mhm.
oh, you watched the Bill Burr special?
I did. I watched it with my sister and my brother-in-law. Um, the what is it? The Dying Years? What is it called again?
Drop Dead
What
Years.
Drop Dead Years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
What'd you
Hulu's
think?
coming out. I mean, it was definitely one of his better specials the last couple of years, I think. I thought it was
Mhm.
fantastic. What bits were your favorite?
Oh, wow. There was a lot of them. I loved his he talked about drinking, okay? Because I loved that bit with drinking where he was like, yeah, he and also men being sad. Men are only allowed to have 2 emotions. I'm fine or I'm angry. I'm fine or I'm mad. And then when he was like,
Mhm.
I'm sad. And his act outs are great. I love
Oh,
all
yeah.
his impression of his wife, like all the things like everything does. But I love that where he was like, I can't keep Oreos in the house because I'll eat the entire sleeve. And he's like, you know who you married. And that
Yeah, and she's like, why don't you just have a couple? He's like, no.
no.
He's like, no.
And
You know
that
me.
cracked me up. And like his I liked that drinking bit a lot. And I liked it all. What about you? What did you
One of the ones I found very funny, and I think it's a perfect play on you have to know a little bit about Bill Burr and who he is, was talking about how in his marriage he's like, turns out I'm not very agreeable.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was like, this is what I've been doing in my marriage, and partly because a lot of the special especially starts out about, getting older, and
Mm-hmm.
basically he's saying I'm in my years now that, like, if I was to pass away, it's not like shocking and devastating in a way of like I was too young. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
granted, everybody's too young when they die, right? No one wants to lose anybody. But in that, he says, he's like, I realize, like, that means I only have a certain amount of years left with my wife, with my children, da da da. So he was like, this is what I've been doing for my marriage. And it's actually made my marriage a lot better. He's like, I've just been going along with stuff she wants to do and doesn't like put up a fight to whatever random cutesy things she wants to do. And I found it so funny how he would imitate, like, how he has been able to clock when she's going to ask one of those things.
Uh-huh.
He's like, her whole voice changes and it's this little like softness. It's like, just thinking about, what do you think about if we did that? We went to that wedding in Napa, but we like went a day or two early. I mean, what do you think about that? And he's like, I've just learned to be like, yeah, all right, let's do it. And she's like shocked. But there was a lot about his marriage dynamic material that I really, really enjoyed. I'm obviously not doing it justice of saying everything, but
No, that was great. Well, it's also with men how like he's like they just drop dead. Women don't really do that. Like they're not like they're fine, drop dead the next day. Like
yeah,
that part is very true. There was the thing about the massage, getting a massage and how there should be a happy ending. That was really funny because I just got a massage that day. And then when he's like, "You bring an old lefty over there." I mean, that was that was hilarious. But he drops, I don't know if this is a spoiler alert because it's not a joke, but he says how he was touched as a child at the end of the special.
very lightly
Very
touches on
light. It
that
was
though.
very interesting that he
Or
dropped
he was
that.
like, something happened to him as a kid, because he doesn't
Mhm.
even say the word touched, does he?
I think it does because he's talking about his son, and he does a bit about he was bathing his son, and he doesn't touch him there or doesn't like wash there. He lets him, I think, do that. He's like, I know because I was touched as a child. I think that's how he says it. Don't quote me on that, but I think that that's how it kind of comes up. It was interesting. My sister and I were talking about that, how we brought that up in a way like, okay, like,
Yeah. Well, if you're a Bill Burr fan and you've like watched interview clips of his or listened to his podcast, all these other things, he has talked about like he does bring this up in the special, right? Getting into therapy
uh-huh.
much later in life or whatever,
Mhm.
and now it's opened up a lot of things for him in general. So it's interesting when you see him in interviews and stuff. I've seen clips of him that he really isn't this like as hard and harsh and tough of a guy like as he used to be. And I think he talks a little bit about that in the special, being like, I grew up, this is how I grew up, these are like the things that were expected of me. So he is a little bit of an old school mentality, but that's why he's the type of guy that has the right to do the bit about you're either angry or you're fine.
Uh-huh.
And like other emotions weren't really tolerated from men, especially at his age and the generation he grew up in. So it's like it's interesting to like be that, and he was older when he had kids, to then be
Yeah, their
raising
kids are
like,
young. Yeah.
yeah, they're not that old. I think maybe 5 or something, like,
Yeah, I Googled that during
because
the
he's like 10 years older than
special.
his wife. Yeah.
Okay.
So that must be really fascinating for him, that it's like, my parents feel like, oh, how you grew up and how we did things with you was different than us, and it's like there's not that many years between me and my parents compared to him and his children, that I'm
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, that's literally like 3 lifetimes worth, or 3 generations worth of like differences, because they're
It
Gen
is.
Alpha,
Yeah.
not even Gen
Yeah.
Z.
It is very different how well he does say he's like your two emotions are sad or no, not sad or angry or fine. And he's like everything else in the middle is gay. Where he's like, "Oh, you like sunsets?" Nope.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of funny. Then when he was like, "Oh, what's this feeling? It creeps up. I'm coming back off the road. Oh, it's sadness. I'm sad." Like,
Mm-hmm.
and we have so many outlets, I think, as women, just to talk to each other. Like
Yeah.
we do. Like, I mean, I have talked to my friends, and my friends have been there processing. I'm a processor about getting broken up with. Like, okay, like talking about it, processing it. Dudes don't do that necessarily. Like, I don't know if they
No.
do, or if they sit there and they're like, I'm gonna go call up so and so and talk about this. Like, I don't. We
Certain
talk it
guys,
out
but it's
more.
rare. It's
Mm-hmm.
rare. It's because even of my guy friends, I'm like, a lot of them that do talk about that stuff typically just have a lot of female friends. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's who they talk to about it. They still don't talk to their like male friends about it.
Oh,
But then
that's
certain
true.
guys I've met have found other men like themselves, and they do talk about everything like in the ways that women do, which is good though.
I think it's
They need
good.
to be talking more.
It's funny, my guy friends that are in relationships, they do talk to me about stuff, I think, where I'm like, okay. So, and I like that because, sometimes you need a perspective. And yeah,
But
I
it's
love
fascinating.
female.
Relationships, especially, I feel like a lot of men don't talk to their friends about like at all.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a fun
Okay.
laugh though. I had a good laugh on that. Did you have
Well,
to
he's the
walk
ultimate
off?
guy. He could. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Do you have any walk offs? I have one little one,
Oh,
but
go. You go first.
oh, okay. So I'm a matcha fan. I love matcha stuff. LA has a lot of really great matcha places. My whole algorithm currently now is just showing me different like matcha coffee shops, matcha this, da 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 da. So I look up some places to be like, all right, let me mark this off because I'm trying to maybe meet up with somebody, hang out, and it's like, all right, might as well like go explore a new cafe, catch up with a friend, or go do work at the cafe. But a lot of these popular places, you can't sit there and do work. It's like line out the door, crazy, which I didn't realize. So I found one that was like a 30-minute walk from my house through
Oh,
like
nice.
pretty residential area. So I'm like, all right, let me like get up one morning and I'll go walk to the place, walk home. It'll be my little start to the day. I get there, huge line that I was like, game time decision. You're like, am I gonna do the wait in this line just to try this matcha, whatever? But it was a day I was like, I really don't have too much going on. You know what? We'll have a leisurely day a little bit in this morning. Let's get the matcha. So I'm there in line. There is a couple behind me who is like on my ass in the
Oh,
line where you're like, hey, get give me a little room. Like this guy bumps into I have a little backpack. It's not even filled with anything because afterwards I was going to stop by CVS or something. Bumps into my backpack like 3 or 4 times while we're waiting in the line. And it's like the line it's not like the line moved and then I short stopped. It'd be like I would just be standing there like and it was that thing, where you go, do I say something?
mm-hmm.
Do I say something or is like this gonna stop? Do I just turn and give a look? What's up? Every time he keeps bumping my bag to kind of be like,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, yeah. Um and I ended up not saying anything, but I almost lost it that I'm finally up at the register because I waited. It was probably a half hour. This is very embarrassing, but I did this. Yeah, because you're like, let me start the wait. Let me see how fast the line moves. And I'm like listening to like a podcast or something that I was into. So I was like, all right, I'll listen to my podcast. And then it hits a point that you're like, I've already invested so much time in the line that I'm not going to get out of the line at this point. I was like, we're down for the ride. I get up to the register to finally order, and it's of course this coolish place that has some like some things that you want to order like aren't technically on the menu, but there's no menu like up on the wall somewhere. So like you only see the menu right when you get to the register and look down. Where it's like, okay, I gotta decide quick. I'm like looking at my phone to try to be like, what's the name of the little latte everybody likes? I don't fucking know. I get up to the register. These two people are on like breathing down my neck to look at the menu, and I was like, oh my god. But the inside is jam packed with people as well as the outside line, and I just was like, do I say something that I was just biting my tongue so hard to be like, I don't want to make a scene, but I'm also like, yo, give me not even a full foot of room. Give me some inch. Like I'm like, yeah, it's the first time I've seen the menu too, guys. This is
Yeah.
this is how this place works. This is but oh, I ended up not saying anything. I would just give them a
Mhm.
look every time they did that, and they would not adjust. That I just was like, okay, I don't know what this silent battle is, but this is infuriating.
Were they European?
No, not European, but they also were speaking a different language
That's it.
majority of the time we were there. So that made me go, I feel like
Nailed
if I say
it.
anything,
Sorry,
they
nailed
are
it.
no. Well, listen. And I also was like, I bet if I say something, they'll pretend to not speak English to me. like as if they didn't do anything. And I'm like, but I was mainly annoyed because it was the man that kept bumping into my bag that I was like,
You're
dude,
like, do you not feel me? Do you not feel that there's a
yeah, am I
presence
not a
here? Do you not?
presence? Yeah.
I can't.
Oh,
I can't stand that. When someone you're like, I just need you to back up just a smidge. Like I need you to
yeah.
like you're in my space, like back up. I
And
returned
it was a
something in
couple.
Amazon and there was like a mother-daughter and like they were right on top of me as I was just
Yeah.
like at the Whole Foods getting my scan out and I just kind of like gave a side eye. Like you're right on back. Give me two spaces. Just give me just a
Yeah.
little back. Like
Where I'm
I
like, I know
can't.
it's all crowded and it's a line, but it's like I'm used to crowdedness in New York, but still people not being up in your space in that way. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like the line, you're like just but I don't know. I was a little proud of myself that I just didn't say anything.
You
But
didn't say
now
you kept it
anyone I've
going.
told is like, oh, I absolutely would have said something. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the scenario. Apparently, everybody else speaks up, and I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to look bad. They're like not speaking English. Like I just was like, all right, I'll just suck this up. But when I was at the register, I I was very close to like losing my shit.
It's okay. I can't believe you
That I
waited
was like,
30 minutes for matcha.
listen,
That is
that's
another
another part.
Erica. Erica's changed. Erica's very LA. She's waited I won't
uh,
wait that long. I go in, I see a
I
line. I'm
mean,
like, I need to go to Target today. And then I was like, it's a Saturday. What are you thinking? You are not you're not gonna win this.
yeah. Well, here's the thing.
So
I'm not going back. You know, like it was like, all right, this is supposed to be one of the best matchas. I'll try it, and like, never coming back here because no matcha should be taking that freaking long.
well, that was good. You went out, you saw about the matcha. You're like, I'm not gonna do
Got my
this
matcha
again.
supposed to calm me, and got pissed off at these people.
Chris getting all fired up. It's like in a yoga class when someone puts their mat right in front of you and you're like, I can't see myself. You didn't even look behind you to see if you're blocking anybody.
Yeah.
Or and then you get fired up about it. And my this is I don't know if I should even say this is my walk off, but my yoga studio changed their floor and it's very hard now and it's very slippery. And it's like nice, it's a nice floor, but not if you're trying to jump or do a hit class.
Yeah.
And they changed some of the other ones. And so the other floors have already been changed, but this was like the last one to be changed. And I'm like, do you just want me to mess my knee up? So now I have to continue to take your yoga class? Like, I don't,
That's
I
weird.
bought a
Yeah. Why would they
thicker
change
mat.
it?
Yeah, it's especially when it's a hot class where I was like, it's all wet. Like people are
Yeah.
slipping. Like it's I don't know. It's not a fan of that. So I got a new yoga mat coming. So we'll see if
Okay.
that helps. But I don't know. So guess my walk it off was that girl that was like, you're sweaty. I was like, yeah, no shit. Okay. Um,
Which is fine.
but good. Well, thank you, Erica. I hope you have a great week. You have a
Yeah.
show
You
tonight.
too.
Well, this is gonna come out on Tuesday. So
I do. Show in
never
San Diego, so
yes.
gonna have some fun. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening,
Thanks for listening,
and
everybody. Have a great week. Feel free to questions, things that you have, whatever you want to talk to us. Talk to
yeah,
us. We love
submit
you. We
away.
want to hear from you.
Yes. And up next is a Patreon preview if you want an extra episode every week. So, all right. Talk to everybody next week. Bye.
Talk to you later.
To report, I feel a little bad that I got frustrated because I did end up talking to him. I ended up calling him that night in response to his message.
Mm-hmm.
We got on the phone, just chatted a little, and then I was like, yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not sure exactly how to get into this. And I don't want to like be harsh, but I can be really direct. And so I was like, I really don't want to hurt your feelings, but I've been feeling a couple little things that I feel like I should talk to you about. And so I said, like, how honest do you want me to be? And he said, he was like, oh, he's like, I can handle feedback. It's fine. And so I just said, like, there is part of me that is a little surprised that you're asking me to hang out again. I said, because when we hang out, I was like, I am not really sure that you're into it. If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode and get extra episodes every week, join the Patreon, which is patreon.com/2standupgals. Or you can also now join from the Apple Podcast app, right from your phone. You'll also get ad-free episodes of the public podcast, in addition to the extra episodes every week. So to join, go to patreon.com/2standupgals.